Okay, hey, today I'm gonna do a tutorial on how to do these kinds of really simple illustrations with like primitive shapes. We're gonna use Blender on a Mac, and I'm gonna be doing this on a base model MacBook Air, just without any peripherals or anything. I'm literally just using the laptop, so no excuses. And yeah, just some more kind of looks at that type of style. Just like I'm not signed into the Dribble, so I can't look at them. But a lot of the stuff you see are like really simple, primitive shapes, just like in like space. Like this one's just like in a purple room, or this one's like in a green room, or whatever. So I'm gonna try to show you how you can do that really quickly. I think a lot of this style kind of, I was trying to think of the first place I saw it, and I think this WWDC 2018 had a really great video, kind of with this like simple, primitive shape. Obviously, I think the taste was a little bit better than a lot of the stuff that we see, where it's just like plasticky shapes. But that's what I'm going to show you how to do anyways, even though I don't like the style a whole lot. I think if more people can do it, we'll probably move on to something a little bit quicker. So I don't even have Blender installed, so I'm just going to go ahead and download. Let's just use whatever the latest stable version is. I'm always downloading the betas and stuff too, but let's just use what they're giving us right now. Okay, so I might have to install it. Should just take a second. That's one thing about the M1 machines. I've been super pleased with it. Seems very quick. But yeah, let's see if we can do all this with the trackpad. Okay. Let's see. Let's jump right in. And let's go ahead and start building the scene. Yep, let's do it. I'm also using this Keystroke Pro. I forget who made this, but really cool little app for showing your key presses. I think it's like $15 or something like that. Recommended. Let's see. They said this is a stable version. Okay, cool. Okay, so right at the get-go, you got to set some preferences. Select with left, right, left is fine. When I hit the space bar, I like to bring up the search. They really improved the search a lot, so you can kind of just like hit space bar, almost just like the spotlight search, and look through everything. Okay, looks good to me. Save those settings. There's one other setting I want to update before we get started, which is in preferences, which is under edit, and then under input. We're going to emulate the numpad because we don't have one, because we're just using a MacBook keyboard. So anyways, there's a lot going on here. And if you're a beginner, again, probably overwhelming. This is the 3D viewport. You've got a couple things in it. You've got like your shapes or whatever. This is just like the default cube. This is a light. And this is a camera, even though it doesn't really look like a camera, I guess. You can click this button to go into the camera view. You can kind of see that animation. We kind of went right into it. That's pretty useful for like snapping and previewing your scene. If you press Z, you can see I'm holding it down. My overlay things kind of doesn't like that. You can choose your different previews. Choose like a rendered version. I don't actually want any notifications from that. Okay, a couple other things we're probably going to want to change immediately is our render engine, which under this tab, what is it called? The renders property tab, you're able to select a couple different things. I'm not familiar with what Workbench is, but Eevee is like a real-time renderer, kind of like video game-esque, and Cycles is a more photorealistic one. So if you go into Cycles, you'll get better results. Again, that's just my preference. But okay, a couple of tips for moving around. You can like snap to different ways of like looking at it. I hit 7 on my keyboard and it snaps me to like the top down. 3 is a side, 1 is another side, stuff like that. But let's just try to do something real straightforward. Let's look again at what our reference is kind of looking at. I was looking at something like this. We're probably not going to do this whole phone thing with like the UV map right now. I guess this one's not even, this one's actually like all in 3D, which is kind of interesting. But I just kind of want to show you how to do these primitive shapes, like all in one color, just in like a room by itself. So the best way will probably be able to do that is just by deleting this. So I selected it just with left click, hit X, delete it. I'm going to bring in a plane to like kind of make a floor, and to bring up that menu you hit Shift A, or you can probably hit space and search for a plane. Yeah, and it gives you the shortcut. That's why I like putting that on the space bar. Just selected it, and now it's here. I'm going to scale it out a bunch, and this will kind of act as like our floor. So let's see what our camera's seeing right now, and now it's just seeing like a gray floor. So that's what our rendered area would actually end up looking like. Okay, let's go ahead and give it a wall as well. So you can do that by adding another plane, or you can connect like two planes together and kind of make one big shape, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make one big shape, which I'm going to do by going into edit mode, and I want to select these two bits here and like make that into another wall. So you can do that by, let's select these. I'm gonna like move around my camera. Not a lot of screen real estate on this thing, I'll be honest. But I went to edge select mode, and I'm gonna hit E on my keyboard to extrude it. So now it's like extruding, and I'm gonna press Z to lock it to the Z axis. So, and then I'm gonna pull it up, and now we've got like just like part of a room, I guess. I'm gonna press G and Z again just to move that up some more, because we still have it selected. You can kind of see it selected with that white outline. So you press G on something, you can move it. And I'm hitting escape to cancel that. Okay, so now we're seeing that, but that's obviously not what our camera's really seeing. So I want to move around our camera so that it is looking at this wall. So that's all it can see. And to do that, I'm going to just manually enter some numbers. So there's this tiny little arrow right here that's used to pop out this menu. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that's too tiny, but you can press N on your keyboard as well to pop that out. And then I have like the location values of this. So I'm just gonna like zero it all out. I'm going to zero this out as well. 0. Okay, so now our camera is like underneath it, looking down. And press G and Z to bring it up again. And now I just want to like point it towards that wall. So I'm just going to kind of fiddle with these selections until I get what I'm wanting. So X will be at 90, but now it's looking that way. So do we need this to be? Is this 90 as well? Nope. Maybe this one? Ah, okay, nice. So now it's looking right at the wall. We can probably bring it down a bit now. Might want to try to get like this edge in here. So we have like a floor. Let's see. Selecting the camera and just seeing what we're looking at. And now you can kind of see the floor there. And we'll clean this up a little bit later. But that could be kind of where like our content lives. So let's just do something super simple, like a couple like cubes just to put over there. So I just Shift A, add a cube, and now you could just like manually bring it over there. So I'm pressing G and X to lock it to that axis, and then I'm going to press G and Z to bring it up a little bit. I'm just going to kind of manually put it above the floor. I think there's plugins and stuff that'll do it really specifically for you. They get it right above the floor. This one's like hovering right now a little bit, you can see. So I went into wireframe mode, which you hit Z, and it's one of your options there, so you can like see through stuff. So that's pretty useful when you're trying to like make stuff like sit perfectly, but we're not super worried about that right now. Let's add in like another little primitive shape. Let's just do a UV sphere. I don't really like using these because it's pretty hard topology. You can see how much more complicated it looks right now. But again, we're just kind of going for the idea here. So let's bring this up, but let's like scale it down, bring it up a little bit. Wow, you could like upload something like this. It'd be like shape study to Dribble, and you'd be like, oh my God, you're so talented. I'd be like, yes, I know, thank you. Anyways, we're gonna move on and go ahead and add some colors to things. So right now, if we look at this and we like go into our rendered mode, it kind of looks, I don't know, like some Pixar test software from like the 1820s or something. I don't know, it looks pretty bad though. Sorry, water break. What we want to do is like give it some better lighting and also give it some color. That's the main idea. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this actually just to my downloads folder just so it doesn't crash. We downloaded the saved one, but man, you never know. Just save your stuff. Okay, so I'm actually going to delete this light. I just selected it over here, even though I like can't see it where I was at. So you can select it here, or you can select it here in the side panel. Press X, delete it. And now if we were to look in it, it's like totally dark. There's no light in our scene anymore. Really makes you think. This will probably be a good time to mention all these tabs up at the top up here. A bunch of these are useless to depending on what you're doing. So like sculpting, I'm going to right click it. Oh, I'm trying to right click it and delete it. I don't need that one. Don't need texture painting. I do need shading actually. Don't need animation. I'm not going to do any compositing. Geometry nodes. Actually, I haven't played with this. This is a new feature that's kind of cool for like animation stuff. I don't know much about it, but it's exciting that it's in Blender now. Scripting, if you want to do some programming in here, feel free. I'm not. I'm going to delete the modeling one too, because I kind of just do that here in the layout tab. So that got a lot more simple up there. Or do we want, no UV editing either. This is like the one you would do if you wanted to like put a screenshot. I'm like right in the way again. If you wanted to put like a screenshot on it. It's not that complicated, it's just not part of what I'm wanting to show right now. Okay, so now we've got all that worked out. How do we bring some light into our scene? That's a good question. Let me try to remember on the fly. I'm going to go into the shading tab. Going to go into the solid view just so it doesn't kill the machine. Again, I'm on this like tiny little MacBook on battery power, so let's see how it does. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go in here. So this is like the node editing area. So if you select something with a material, it would appear here. I'll show you what that looks like. So if we just select our cube and hit new, this will give it like a new material where you're able to like come in and edit all these properties of it. So this is like effectively where we're going to change its color. But there's also another tab in here called the World tab. And inside the World tab, you have a couple other nodes. So right now, our world is getting like its color from like this background color with its strength. So if we like crank this up, I think it would actually like brighten everything up. Yeah, kind of weird. But what we're going to use is again, searching just by hitting Shift A, just like we did in the other tab, and searching for a sky texture. This is kind of a newer thing that they've been doing. Let's see. What's the best way to include a sky texture? I guess we can do it just like that. I don't know if that's the ideal way to hook up this node, but I'll show you why I like this node. So immediately we get like some way more realistic looking lighting. We're able to edit these values here. So I'm going to take this down from 1 to 0.5, or let's see, 0.1. It's like bringing down the brightness a little bit, or I guess the intensity. Let me zoom in. I forget how tiny that is. But you're able to maybe change the sun size would be the best way to do this. Let's bring this down to like 0.3, 0.1. So I'm just kind of messing around with these numbers. That's a tiny sun, dude. The thing I like about it is like you can just like come in here and edit all of these attributes, and it kind of like automatically gives your scene better lighting. So you can use like an HDRI, which is like a actual picture that has all the lighting stuff baked into it, but doesn't give you a whole lot of freedom in my experience. So I think using this sky texture is like an easier way to do it, and you get like some interesting stuff you can do. I don't know, I haven't messed with it a whole lot. Let's see, what if we get some dust? I like this one just because it like applies to your whole scene and you don't really have to worry about it. You just edit it here and it's one place, and you don't have to like go like download a different file if like it's not looking like how you want. This looks okay though, but what we're gonna need to do is like actually edit our materials a little bit so they appear. Going back to the object tab, I'm just gonna leave the lighting how it looks right now. I'm gonna select our material. We'll call this, it's called material 1, but let's just call it blue. And let's make some blue materials, kind of like this. Making it blue, very true kind of blue. I guess it doesn't have to be exactly like what that was, but anyways, you get the idea. And then if we want this sphere we had to have the same material as this one, we'll just come here and like click this little drop down and also give it the blue material. And we could even come back to like this plane that we made and also give it the blue material. And all of a sudden it's starting to look very similar to the stuff that we've got going on here. So let's make the background like a little bit of a different color. Oh, I forget, they're all the same material. So the materials are also linked together. So if you want to make a duplicate of it, you hit this button here. I think it's called add a new material. Oh, it'll keep the same properties. So I just did that, and I'm going to call this like walls. And now I'll be able to change the color of the walls without changing everything else. So now it's looking like a little bit different, right? Okay. So now we've got our scene kind of set up. Let's go ahead and like go back to our layout tab and kind of arrange these things a little bit better. Move our camera around so it actually has everything in view. So in order to do that, let's select the camera and let's just lower it down a little bit. Might actually be able to do it. Let me try something. If I select the camera and I hit G and Z, yeah, you can actually move it while you're looking at it. That's pretty useful. Learning in real time. So for like some visual interest, we could make things offset, like rotate some stuff around, do all that kind of stuff. But I think for the most part, this is kind of getting the idea we're talking about across. Let's go ahead and, man, the trackpad, man. I would recommend getting a mouse, honestly. I think it's way easier. But, you know, we could do it here. We're doing it. So I have the cube selected. I'm just trying to bring it to the floor right now by hitting G and Z and kind of lighting it up a little bit better. Not the most scientific thing, but it's not supposed to be either. So let's see. Now it's like a little more on the floor. That's fine. Close enough, if you ask me. One thing you can do to make these look more realistic is give the cube like a bevel, because right now it's just super sharp edges, which that would be like the sharpest katana in the world. It's like one atom thin. It could chop through anything. So maybe if we could bevel it out a little bit, it would look a little nicer. And the way you can do that, so there's actually a few ways. Let's try out a couple. So I'm going back over to this, like, what's this whole window even called? I don't even know what this is called. I don't know. Our settings panel. But I'm going to go to the modifier properties here. And now this is where you can get into like a lot of crazy stuff, but I'm just looking for one modifier in particular, the bevel modifier. So you can do all kinds of stuff in here, but I'm just looking for this one. Okay, so immediately we can see kind of what's going on. Should be familiar with kind of what bevels are. Okay, check it out. We got some good stuff going on. What's the best? I don't know what the best like option here is, honestly. Percent. Let's just keep it to the default and just give it a couple levels of that. And then one thing you do is like right click it and hit shade smooth and it'll kind of smooth it out. That's like a toggle in here somewhere. I don't actually know where shade smooth is in this menu. I think you could do it in this menu. Anyways, but you can just do it by right clicking the object. So now if we look at it, what's it look like now? Ooh, a little round. This guy's getting around too. This guy's around. Let's go ahead and rotate him actually. Rotate on the Z. Okay. I'm visually interested. I don't know about you, but this is pretty interesting to me. Let's try to do the same thing we just did to that, but to our plane. Let's try to like, this edge right here is also super sharp katana. So I'm thinking kind of like how you'd see a photographer have a big like drape curtain behind them. We'll just do the same thing. And so I'll show you the other way to do a bevel. So select that plane, like our wall thing. I'm gonna hit tab to go into edit mode. Then I'm gonna select this one, this one right here. I'm gonna hit Command B. If I hit Command B, you see what's going on. I'm getting a bevel there. And now this is where the trackpad comes into play. So you hit Command B, and then you would scroll on a mouse. I'm gonna scroll on my trackpad to try and like increase the amount of options or the amount of detail. Okay, so there we go. We got some stuff. Okay, just click to make the selection. Right click, shade smooth. Now what do we have? Okay, now we're just in like blue space, which was kind of the goal. Pretty interesting so far. One thing that I think really, honestly, I think we're almost done. But one thing that I think adds a lot more like visual interest is like a really sharp depth of field, which might be some people's preference, might not be other people's. But I'll show you what that looks like. So let's duplicate this shape, which I'm going to do by, I think it's Shift D. Yeah, Shift D, and I duplicated it. And now I'm going to hit X just to lock it to the X. I'm just going to move it kind of like behind where these things are, because I'm going to want to show the depth. And then I'm going to move it over here using the Y. I might shrink it down a little bit, or maybe I'll make it bigger actually. Maybe shrink it down. So now it's being occluded by that. But we're going to try to like really drive home the fact that this is like pretty far behind it. So the way we're going to do that is actually by selecting our camera. Let's go ahead and go into rendered mode so we can see what's going on. But we have our camera selected, and then down here we'll have this little camera option, and then you have a checkbox down here called depth of field. So if you select that, you're able to actually like mess with the true values here. But another thing you can do is use this little eyedropper and pick what you want to be in focus. So if I want this cube to be in focus, I can click it, and I think it's doing a little bit there, but we can make it more exaggerated by like lowering the f-stop even further. So let's make it like 0.2 or 0.3. Now stuff's starting to blur back there. And it looks pretty grainy here in the preview, but once we actually render it, you'll be able to tell. So I don't know if you can actually have a camera in the real world that has an f-stop of 0.1. But we're in 3D land. We do whatever we want. Okay, I'm just messing with that value a little bit. But now we've got kind of what our scene's going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and render this out and see what it looks like. Let's go to our render settings just to see what's going on. Where's our render settings? Yeah, it's like this little printer, I think, right? Yeah, our output. So we're going to render at 1080p. Yeah. Seems fine to me. The way you render is by coming up to the render button up here and hitting render image. And now the M1 MacBook Air is going to chug along and do a little 3D rendering, which honestly, okay, so I use a 16-inch MacBook for work, and it kind of blows this thing out of the water when it comes to like graphics performance. But when it comes to like power and like how much I actually enjoy using it, I really like this tiny machine. But it does take a little while to render stuff. So this could be like a time where like using Eevee would kind of come in handy. But you can kind of see what's going on in our render. You see like this in the background, you have this really like blurred out sphere. That's because of our depth of field was kind of ridiculous. We might actually be blurring the thing we're trying to focus on because we've made it so ridiculous. It's kind of hard to tell when you're in the preview. But I think that's just like another little extra touch that could like add a lot to how your previews look. Or your final renders, I mean. So we don't have to wait for this whole thing to render. I'll skip to the end of it and then we can admire it together. Okay, the render is finally complete. It took 2.5 minutes just about. Not too bad, but I mean, it's just a 1080p render, so maybe you want to do it in 4K or something. But anyways, this kind of shows you the basic idea I was talking about how to get like just like these shapes like in like a colorful world with this color on it. Like you could do that very, very quickly. So like the differences you would see here are like they like applied a little material to these things to get kind of like a wood grain thing. And obviously these are like more complicated shapes that they would have modeled a little bit. But you could do all those things too. Like you could make the shape, you could like stretch this out, make it the shape of a phone, and then do a little UV editing and like put a screenshot of like your product on it. You can do any of that stuff. This is like just the fundamentals to it, and this is all just like building on top of it. I'm trying to see if they did any little depth of field stuff on it. Maybe. Hard to tell. Looks like a little bit. Anyways, not as aggressive as what we did here. One final thing I wanted to show you is like how to actually save the image. This is something that really confused me when I first started using Blender. But if you just come up here to image, you can hit save as, and you can save it as whatever you want. And now it's on your computer. Let me see. Where'd it go? Here it is. Wow. Our final product. Upload that to Dribble. People are going to love it. But anyways, hopefully you get like the main ideas I was trying to get across of like how simple it is to make like a pretty simple scene. But yeah, I mean, you can obviously go crazy. It's 3D, man. There's no limits. All right, cool. That was all I wanted to go over. So I hope that helps somebody. All right, bye.